Turn me up. Detroit already know what time it is. No soft tape. No fake love. Run the tape. Ball don't lie. Smooth operator, K-Con with the handle. Fourth quarter cold, he light up the candle. City on 10 when he shift that angle. One wrong step, now the defense is shambles. Stop sign, saw red light on wings. Clamps too tight, he control everything. Number 9 lurking, no room for the swing. You thought you had space, now you stuck in the ring. Beef stew in the mud, bringing heat to the glass. Talk too light, better move with some class. Jalen Duran at the rim, got the paint on tax. Come down that lane, better know where you at. Ryan Harlan hungry, young wolf with bite. Detroit don't race off, we race fight. Bad whistle blow, still standing upright. LCI shake when the boys get right. From the Coney to the group chat, everybody got a tag. From the cheap seats to the live stream, everybody wide awake. Ball don't lie, tape don't lie. Scoreboard cold and the streets gon' ride. Real fans talk, fake fans hide. 3-1-3, better pick your side. No soft takes, no fake pride. Detroit sports, look alive. Ball don't lie, truth gon' show. Run that back, let the whole world know. When it's chaos, I'm on raw routes, first downs pay off. John me again, Sonic gone when he take off. Blink one time, now the whole roof came off. Hunch off the edge, that pocket get haunted. Quarterback nervous, now the drive getting stalled up. Buddy stayed well, Stonewall, nobody falling. Jama over top, hit a whole crowd calling. Kirby in the back, bad throws get taken. Ford field loud, whole city starts shaking. Fourth quarter pressure, everybody awakened. Detroit been patient, now the league gotta face it. We sat through the jokes, we sat through the pain. Still watercolor, still screamed in the rain. Now they wanna talk like they knew the name, but we was in the mud when they laughed at the game. Woodward lights, 94 traffic, still tuned in, still talking magic. Win or lose, we don't disappear. Detroit sports, we bleed in here. Ball don't lie, tape don't lie. Scoreboard cold and the streets gon' ride. Real fans talk, fake fans hide. 3-1-3, better pick your side. No soft takes, no fake pride. Detroit sports, look alive. Ball don't lie, truth gon' show. Run that back, let the whole world know. Don't bring lazy takes in here. Don't bring fake debates in here. If you ain't what, don't speak in here. Detroit sports, we bleed in here. Smooth operator with the clock on ice. Stop sign waiting, better think twice. Beef stew banging that glass got price. Sonic hit the crease, going out of sight. Run the tape, say the name, Call the foul, check the game, If they cook, we gon' say it. If they sold, we gon' play it. If they fought it, we gon' weigh it. Ball don't lie, we don't fake it. Detroit, basketball, Detroit. Ball don't lie, tape don't lie. Scoreboard cold and the streets gon' ride. Real fans talk, fake fans hide. B13, better pick your side. No soft takes, no petty pride. Detroit sports, look alive. Ball don't lie, truth gon' show. Run that back, let the whole world know. This is ball don't lie, Detroit. Real fame, real talk. And this ain't Detroit.
Hey, what up, though, Detroit? This is your boy 313 Sports Guru, Ball Don't Lie Detroit, where we tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. And hey, it's me alone tonight, but man, I couldn't sleep. Um, lots of news updates regarding the NBA playoffs. The Spurs. Congrats to Spurs fans everywhere. Y'all are moving on. So it's a great matchup between the Spurs and the Knicks. I definitely anticipated this. If you guys have been watching, this was my prediction the whole time. Um, and it's that red carpet layout for the Knicks, in my opinion. But hey, can the Spurs ruin the script? I don't know. And I'd like to know what your guys' opinions are too. So let's get into it. First, I wanted to go through, kind of look at the paths for both teams and how they got here. Um, First, we'll start with the Knicks. They started off number 3 seed in the East, 53-29. They were a great team. Great players. We talk about it all the time. You got Brunson, you got um, Cat, Mikal Bridges, you got OG Ananobi, you got McBride off the bench. Even Alvarado is a great piece coming off the bench. Great pickup late in the season. Uh, Knicks really, really solid team. Um, they are struggling with a little bit of an injury to Mitchell Robinson, broke his pinky. But hey, man, I'll say this: if I was Mitchell Robinson, I'm cutting that thing off and playing. It's the finals. But without exaggerating, I think he might actually play. Looking at the news, he said he went through surgery, successful surgery. Prayers up to him, and hey, I think we might see him in this playoff series. So, uh, by the way, it starts Wednesday. Not sure what time. I'll check on that. Um, but yeah, great team, and they were one of the best teams in the East. A lot of folks, predicted beginning of the season that they would win the Eastern Conference. Coming from a Pistons fan, I didn't want to hear that, and I probably should have because I believe it was the script the entire time. Now it's very obvious. People, I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but in the season where Tony Brothers and Scott Foster are getting more news coverage than Shea Gilgis Alexander and Wembenyama, this, let's just say there's some things going on. Um, Round one, Knicks beat the Hawks, matched up against a young Hawks team with a vet in CJ McCollum. And then, in the beginning, it looked like it was going to be a tough series. Actually, a lot of people thought the Knicks were done. Knicks came back, and yeah, they ended up beating them pretty handedly. Game 5, 120, game 4, 114-98. Game 5, 126-97. Game 6, 140-89. Um, I think that was either maybe a growing up period for the Knicks, but I also believe, it was a showbiz. I truly believe it was showbiz. We saw some crazy fights in that series, some tension, and I believe it's because one team was allowed to be more physical than the other, which is a tale, we've seen in a lot of series, a lot of different playoff series so far, different teams. One game, Orlando Magic were allowed to be more physical with the Pistons. The next game, the Pistons were allowed to play their game and be physical. And this happened across the board, even in this last series with the Spurs and OKC, and we'll get to that. But this was This is something that we've seen was inconsistency with how the refs were calling whistles from game to game. Same refs too. I know Tony Brothers gets a rap for being a Shea Gilgis Alexander lover, but I mean he was pro Cavs against the Pistons, so I don't want to hear that. I think, in my opinion, I think it's just an agenda. One team is favored. Vegas is involved. I truly believe betting has ruined the game. We talked about that before, but let's go on. The Knicks ended up beating the Hawks, and that game 6 was insane. It was just embarrassing, and a lot of these series are happening like that, where the closeout game is just embarrassing. Weird trend. I don't know what's going on there. Knicks round 2 matchup with the 76ers. People thought this was going to be a tougher series for the Knicks, but it turns out not really. Knicks take care of them. And they swept them. Knicks closeout was 130-93, another embarrassing closeout. And honestly, yeah, it looked like the Sixers had no chance. The Sixers don't play a lot of defense, so I didn't have them to win, and clearly it wasn't in the stars. Um, and so the Knicks ended up waiting a really long time to meet up with the Cavs round three, because the Cavs were busy playing the Pistons. In that series, as a Pistons fan, and a lot of people were watching that closely because that was the Eastern Conference. Those were the Eastern Conference games going on at the time. Knicks fans were watching, cheering for the Cavs because they knew that the physicality of the Detroit Pistons was a little different. Um, and the Knicks got to play a team that went to 7 games. I think this was intentional. I think the Pistons and Cavs series was drawn out on purpose, to kind of give the Knicks a little bit of an edge and to get them all healthy. I know OG had an injury at the time, came back healthy, and man, the Knicks are looking really good. With all that I'm saying about the Knicks, look like a really good team right now. Um, Again, I think the better team are the Spurs, which is my opinion, and I think a lot of people share this opinion. But I actually have the Knicks winning, surprisingly. We'll get to that. And so the Knicks now, beat the Cavs in four. Lot of Cavs hate going on there, but man, Cavs fans, I just want to say, I told you so. When we talk about the refs being inconsistent, we're not talking about just towards the Pistons when the Cavs play them. We're talking about in general. And if y'all didn't see it the next series, I mean, y'all saw the physicality that the Knicks were able to put on the Cavs, especially with y'all, licking your wounds coming out of a 7 game series after a 7 game series before that. Um, y'all had a really, really tough stretch, similar to the Pistons. The Knicks were almost like a foregone conclusion to win the Eastern Conference Finals, even though I bet, in my opinion, I think my Pistons are one of two in the East, with the Knicks. And I would have really loved to see that series. And I think the Cavs kind of robbed the Pistons, or at least the refs let the Cavs rob the Pistons. Some people might think I'm crazy, but again, I just have to say this because I truly believe it. Hey, man, Troy. I don't know if you just joined or not, but I'm just mentioning how um, I kind of predicted this, bro. I kind of predicted this game by game, and it was. I think a lot of people are starting to see what the script is. So, man, I think it's a Knicks. I think it's a Knicks championship to win. But if the better team was to win, we all know who should win. And we're gonna see it in the finals. You're gonna see a lot of controversial calls on Stefan Castle because he plays with physicality. You're gonna see a lot of controversial calls across the board with the Spurs. Jalen Brunson's gonna flop his big head up, and he's gonna get those calls. Cat is gonna flop. We already know he's been doing that really well. The Spurs don't flop well. They're physical. They're mean. And if the similar to the Pistons, if the refs let them play, they oftentimes win. And when the refs want to be picky and nitpick every single play for the Spurs, but then the Knicks get to run and run and run. Listen, over a 7 game series that weighs on the team, eventually it gets in their psyche. And as we've seen, all the teams that the Knicks have played so far, I mean, listen, Spurs fan, I'm with you. I want to see Wemby win, bro. I want to see Dylan Harper. By the way, I am so envious of your young core. I think Dylan Harper, Devin Vassell. I don't know how y'all are gonna keep all these guys. I honestly don't. I want to steal one of them from you guys, but I know Devin Vassell, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Wemby. Man, y'all just have a loaded team when it comes to young talent. So going back, I would love to see the Spurs win. I think they actually are the best team in the NBA this year. Honestly, they're the only team that gave my Pistons nightmares the whole season. We just could not figure them out. Cade looked like a middle schooler. All love to you, Cade, bro. But I know you were thinking, man, when we meet Wemby, I really need to figure it out because he couldn't get a shot up against that defense. So I will say, man, the Spurs are a team that I believe we're going to see in the Western Conference Finals for a long time to come, and possibly the NBA Finals for the next 3, 4, 5 years. You know, without any injuries. God willing, I'm gonna say that. I pray. I always hope that teams stay healthy, especially when they have all this potential. And that Wemby does find a way to stay healthy because those guys, 7'5", 7'4", 7'5", those knees, the back. But I see him, taking it seriously and really trying to take care of himself. So, I hope that the young Pistons, young Spurs get to see each other a lot in the future, especially in the finals. That those are my two teams for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years to compete for those final spots. But going back, just talking about how the red carpet to the finals for the Knicks and how obvious it is that the Knicks were favored to really get this spot, while the Spurs had to fight for it. The Spurs had to claw their way. So I was just getting to the Spurs path to the finals. We're doing a little bit of a recap. The Spurs had to go through those Trailblazers. And believe it or not, it wasn't as easy as it looked. Yes, they did beat them 4-1, but y'all are not foreign to the refs not liking you guys. You guys play very physical, and the refs happen to pick and choose when they want to allow you to play that way. And then you got guys like Denny Avdia, who I think should not get the press and the glamour that he does, because he is a foul merchant. He is someone who foul baits. Got to be paying the refs. Someone's paying the refs for this guy. And you guys seen it up front, firsthand. Love Wemby and the guys for dealing with them and showing them that the better team does win, even when you do pay the refs. But man, it was hard. It was really, really hard, especially with the injury to Wembenyama. As we've seen, he is human. A lot of people like to call him an alien. He is human. He can get injured. He can get tired. He can. But hey, like I said, prayers to that team, to stay healthy along the way. Um, and round two with the Timberwolves. This was not easy either. Um, just recalling, that was a series where Wembenyama got beat up, and it was extended, a very extended series. So again, not the same red carpet to the finals as the Knicks, and I imagine this is all adding up. And so then we come to the third round where the Spurs had to go again 7 games. Um, yeah, and and those 7 games were extremely difficult, and honestly kind of unwatchable because every time the Spurs dominated, the next game was a Tony Brothers kind of game. And I just couldn't stand it. Stephon Castle actually had to come out and say, like, y'all are not giving us a fair whistle, similar to Cade, and JB coming out and saying, like, we don't understand what the refs are doing. We can't actually get a good grasp of what they're actually calling. One game, one game in, one game out. So, and Troy, I'm reading your comment. You say Wemby is the face of the league. They're going to script him at least 3 championships in the coming years, similar to how Mahomes took over the NFL. Just to be honest with you, Troy, I'm no Spurs fan. I hate the Spurs, hate Robert Ory, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. I hate those guys. Okay, I could go on. Bruce Bowen, hate him so much, but I will say this: the Spurs don't even need to be scripted to get some championships in the next couple of years. I pray and hope that my Detroit Pistons get to be the obstacle from them getting those championships, but they have a really, really good squad. I don't know much about their coach, but seems like he's got them running. He's got them connected, playing good. He's got guys like Champagny looking like elite role players, elite. Devin Vassell, who led the team at one point in scoring a couple years ago, resorts to a phenomenal role player next to Wemby. That's coaching. To be able to take a guy who was your first option on the team, who tasted, stardom, even if it was on a bad team, to be able to tell him like, look, this is what we're gonna do. Here's the guy, and you're gonna play this way, and it just comes together perfectly. You got a guy like Dylan Harper looking like a vet out there. Stephon Castle, is he a second year? I can't believe it. Either they draft really, really, really well, which I think that is the case as well. But I also think their coaching is just out of this world. And I don't even know who I've never seen him before. I don't even know his coaching tree, where he came from, but just so happens to have really, really good coaching qualities. Um, and even if just talking about today's game, I think the script was to have the Spurs against the Knicks. Number one, I think the Spurs don't match up well against the Knicks. They have some of the Spurs' weaknesses. Like, for example, a stretch forward that can shoot the lights out of the ball. Pull Wemby out of the paint. The Spurs change a little bit. Uh, with all that said, guys, I see your comment too. Digital generation. Welcome, Spurs fans. I don't see you guys a lot on my channel. I hope to see you guys more. I'm gonna probably be doing some live reactions to the Knicks and Spurs coming soon. My partner, Main Event, wasn't able to come on, but you'll see him too. Awesome analysis from him. So, but I really would like to see, get more of a feeling of what it is like in San Antonio right now, how you guys are feeling, and then communicate with you guys game by game. Um, I wish I could be there, and in New York. I think it's gonna be crazy atmosphere because those are two teams really thirsty for a championship, especially in New York. And the Spurs, I think you guys got a couple years, man, where you guys are like, even if it doesn't work out this year, you guys are playing with house money. But I know when Wembanyama's serious, like he is seriously coming out to be better than MJ. And I love when players do that. It gives me the feeling of like LeBron, similar, honestly, to Cade on our team. No play, all business. Um, Man, the future of the league is bright. Let me put it that way. Um, Troy, you said the Spurs are the betting favorite, so I agree with you. Knicks will win, and Vegas will collect all the Spurs money. And honestly, I don't even. I mean, they're probably gonna drag it out. They're probably gonna drag this one out. It could be a 6 or 7 game series, and by game five, I don't think they really even have to call the game a certain way. I think you just have to. The Spurs will be tired. What would they get? How many days rest? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days rest. They are playing at home, but they're gonna start traveling now from Texas to New York right after those first two games. If they lose one, which I think part of the script will be to lose one, going to New York is gonna be extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Heck, even playing in San Antonio with those crazy Knicks fans, y'all are crazy, bro. Y'all are crazy. Keep it safe out there too. By the way, it's good to love your team. It's not good to be crazy and violent. Um yeah, just going back to this last game, you had a great performances from Wemby. You had a great valiant effort from Shea. Like, I don't like Shea. I think that he's overrated, but today he did try his darnest and his best, but the guys didn't come to play. Chet, we talk about Duran all the time and not deserving his pay or whatever, but Chet was a zero today, probably a negative because you're relying on the guy. Um, you get a 7 foot guy that's supposed to play offense and defense, and he just kind of is non-existent on the floor. Almost looks like a negative defensively. It's it's really really sad. It's really sad to see what happened to him there, and I think Wembanyama gets in his head. It's the Jedi Wars going on, and Wemby wins. Spurs had 7 players in double figures. Champagny came to play, put on his best impression of Steph Curry out there, just hitting threes in transition. I'll say more like Klay Thompson. Okay, I'll be a little bit humble. Um, and OKC, listen, Troy, I see you say OKC is done. I'm gonna take a break from the agenda real quick, but OKC, they were playing without one of their stars, and honestly, controversial, but I'm 100% certain of this. Jalen Williams is their star. Shea should be their number two. But the refs, the league, the media likes it the other way around. But Jalen Williams is a dog. Um, Great defensively, offensively is just has a bag and tough, and hits tough shots day in and day out. So um I actually think they're not gonna be done for a while. But will they ever get back to the finals? That's gonna be a tough one. I already see their team, their fan base start, questioning their core. Talking about trading for Giannis, s- selling house. Where yesterday they were like they have this great roster. The good thing about OKC is that um, they have a lot of future assets, draft picks. Like they've got the number 12 and 17 this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean they can end up getting like a Yaxel somewhere there. They can end up getting Amara. So they're not. I don't think they're done, but they've then got to like Shea said. I watched his press conference. He said, I'm gonna let Sam Presti do his job," and he's been one of the best, if not the best, general managers. Um, and I'm gonna put the Spurs GM up there. Um, it's easy to get a top pick and get hit that like a Wemby. Um, like a Cade. It's really easy to get those picks. What's harder is getting the guys more down the line, developing those players, and keeping their morale up, building chemistry, finding guys that fit within the team. Though that's really difficult. Putting together a team of people that otherwise you can't even imagine how they would fit, but you put them together and it works. Similar to Joe Dumars and how he put together the '03 team. It was a process and it was like a puzzle, just putting piece by piece by piece. Brilliant work. Sam Presti is one of those guys. He did it with OKC once before with KD, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and those guys. But I think he did it even better this time, and somehow really got the league to love OKC. I'm talking about the media and the front offices and the board, but shout out to OKC. 2 years, Western Conference Finals. One of them a championship, the other Game 7 lost to Wemby. I can't hate on them, but I will say, Spurs, man, they are the team to beat. I've been preaching this. This is why, Troy. I don't think just signing our young guys is enough. Because I try to compare our young guys to other cores, and maybe that's my fault because our guys can get better exponentially. Um, but I try to compare our cores, and I don't see us catching up. I don't see that big of a difference, like between Cade and, like, for example, the ceiling of a Dylan Harper. I think Dylan Harper has immense potential, but I do think Cade is going to be light years ahead of him. But then you got Wemby, and if you're comparing him to like Jalen Duren, it's just can we can we compare the two? And then you talk about guys like Stefan Castle. I think Asar can be better than him, but is he? No. And there are Asar is a little bit has a little more experience in the league already. So I just it's really hard to look at the Spurs right now and to think how any team is going to beat them. But the Knicks will. I'm telling you all right here, the Knicks are going to beat the Spurs. I don't like to say this. Spurs fans don't beat me up for it. I'm just I'm just the messenger right here. Um, but yeah, Spurs overall. they had a really tough time getting here. Went through a lot of adversity, learned a lot. This could be a benefit to them, but I think ultimately it slows them down. And by the end of the series, even though refs may be involved a little, I think people are just gonna say that the Spurs wasn't their year because they kind of it was too much on them, too overwhelming. All of those games, I think they're nearing on about at least 20 something games right now. That's tough on top of 80. And then you look at the other side, these guys only played 12 games, 14 games on top of theirs. So, OG was sitting out some games. Um, nah, they're healthy. The Knicks are coming in healthy. The Spurs, relatively healthy, looked good today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Can Wemby, can Wemby beat the script? That's kind of what my next headline is gonna be. Is can Wemby beat the script? Troy said facts, bro. I don't see Kate, Asar, and Duran as a big three. We need more. I'm not sure if Duran fits the future. He needs to improve a lot. Asar too. I love Asar what he is right now, but if he can't improve, then we need a two. We need someone who can really score. Um, Duran, regardless of if he learns how to score like a Hartenstein or score like a what other big is there? I mean, he's never gonna shoot threes, man. I just can't see it. So we're talking about someone who at best is I mean, this is a great comparison, but at best, like maxes out all his 2K potential is like a KG, hitting elbow shots, jamming it on people, hook shot, post ups. That's my dream for Jalen Duren. And if he ever gets there, great. He's still not touching Wemby. So we still got to deal with that. We still got to deal with that. Now you got to put other people around him. And if you're paying them like, and I think we're gonna end up paying him similar to like a Hartenstein, and if we can keep that price down on our guys, which is gonna be extremely hard. I mean, it's enough to say, hey, play in Detroit, play hard, play against the whistle, play against the league, and enjoy this discounted check because you're a Detroit Pistons. Like it's really hard to tell people that. So you either get guys that want to be here, like a Duncan Robinson, dude wants to be here. Tobias wants to be here. People ask why would he go get those guys? They want to be here. Not everybody wants to be in Detroit. Um, yeah, scoring is what runs the league. Troy says Steph, Clay, and Draymond took over, and even Draymond could shoot at that time. Our big three doesn't even compare to Golden State. Shooting is the way to win in today's game. I have my feelings. I have my feelings about that statement because I do think that like we're never gonna see the offensive explosion we saw the last 10 years. Steph Curry was an anomaly, in my opinion. Um, this playoffs kind of proved otherwise, where teams aren't winning 130 to 120. Um, Even today's game, it's like the team that holds the other team to less than 100 wins. That's or at least the first team to 100 wins. That's kind of the way it's been going. Now the refs do get to dictate which team gets to hold the other team a little bit more physically, but I'm hoping, I think I said this on another live. I'm hoping we see I don't want to call it a regression because I think it's just going throwback back to where teams actually practice defense. Offense has evolved a little bit into just shoot threes, shoot threes, shoot threes. But you can't just rely on shooting threes all the time. If you are going to shoot threes, you better have guys like Klay Thompson, guys like Steph Curry. How many of those guys are you gonna find? Um, by the way, 1 second. I gotta go do something real quick. I'll be right back. But yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. Like I said, my I don't really think that we're gonna ever find a Curry. I love what Cade was doing. He was scoring what, 6 threes, 5 threes here, but that last game you saw, he was a 0-4, and we just couldn't generate offense. So I think when we were playing through our centers, when we were playing in the paint, it was better for us. We beat teams. Now in the playoffs, you play against a team that's hot shooting threes. Yes, you're absolutely right, but that's where defense needs to evolve, and I've seen it's been evolving. The switch defense is something people didn't used to run a lot. They used to run zones, and I think we've actually been seeing a lot of zones coming back. So I think we could be the team that brings back defense. The Spurs, they're bringing back defense. Teams like Orlando put up a fight because they brought defense. Troy says, "Do you think we can go against the grain and win with our style?" Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying, I mean, making it to the second round, game 7, just says a lot right there. The Cavs, on the other hand, are exactly what you're saying, a team that relies on offense. But I believe that it was fixed, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Cavs were not the better team. James Harden could say he was better than the Knicks. Well, I can say that we are better than the Cavs, 100%. I think the better team didn't win this playoffs in a lot of instances. That's what kills me. So um, even when we talk about like if you look at the Knicks and the Sixers, who has better offensive players? It's like if you're on paper, Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe, Paul George, Embiid. I mean, offensively, those guys are way better than the Cavs. Um, I'm sorry, the Knicks offensively. The Knicks have good players, but the guys I named are prolific. Like when they score, Edgecombe can score 30 or 40. Tyrese Maxey can score 30 or 40. Paul George, y'all know what he can do. Embiid, did he have a 70 game before? I think so. No, I think that you saw right there that a team that plays better defense, beat a team that plays that can potentially score more because there's only one ball. And the secret with the Golden State Warriors was not just every Steph Curry being Steph Curry. It is in a way because Steph Curry being on the court, he's not. There's a difference between Damian Lillard and Steph Curry. Damian Lillard can shoot maybe, I don't want to say just as good as Steph Curry, but maybe a second. And I think that's it. Like there's no the other two. They're like ahead of everybody. Klay Thompson's close on the list, but it's them two. The difference between them is that Steph Curry being on the court, I don't know if it's because he realizes the space he creates or his off-ball movement, but Steph Curry creates a system of ball movement that gets people open shots. And that's why anybody can go to Golden State and start hitting threes. Damian Lillard didn't create that same sort of environment. He's Dame time, great player, but he's not creating that off-ball motion that gets all his guys open and makes them better from the three-point range. Rip Hamilton did something very similar for us, in the field goal range. And then you put Klay Thompson next to Steph Curry. Come on. Now you got Draymond Green in the post looking at both guys running back and forth. And then you get someone open that is maybe not as great of a three-point shooter as the two of them, but are still going to hit 3 out of 5 wide open. It was just a different type of team, which is why they were so prolific. Troy says, we need a guy like Michael Porter Jr. who shoots high volume, good percentage threes. If we don't have that guy, I don't think we can win with Duran and Asar not shooting threes. MPJ, I want his shot. Like, I agree with you. Someone that can shoot as well as him, which is like a Duncan Robinson, man. Like, realistically. But again, MPJ doesn't necessarily create shots with his off-ball movement. He's the guy that is open as a third or fourth option when you have a Jokic, when you have a Jamal Murray, when you've got other guys. um, we would really need to have a lot of other offensive weapons. So you have Kate, so he's gonna get some threes, and he can create a little bit, but I don't see much of a difference between him and like a Duncan Robinson. If people were able to focus on MPJ, as you've seen in Brooklyn, like it doesn't create winning basketball just by having a shot. You have to be able to create shots for others. Um, and with MPJ, I only seen it work in like Denver, and honestly, it was a little disappointing in Denver. Like he just wasn't as he really showed off his shot in Brooklyn. Um, but I agree with you. Like someone, I want more Malik Beasley, bro. Like if we had him and Duncan, bring in some other guys that can shoot three. I hate Struess. Give me someone like Struess. Someone else. I just don't want him on my team. Merrill. Again, these guys, like you're sacrificing defense, but shoot the lights out of the ball, and they've got a lot of motion. They can hit fast break threes in motion. Um, and you bring up a good point with Ron and Nassar. They can be, if you look at like for example, we'll go back to the Denver Nuggets. If you look at my man Aaron Gordon, did anyone think he could be a good 3-point shooter? Maybe. I think they could be like that, but I don't see them just developing a eagle eye from 3-point range. It's not gonna happen. If it does, fantastic, but I can't count on that. What I want from Asar and what I want from Ron Holland is to focus more on becoming dynamic scorers, like and playmakers. That's what I want from them. I want them to learn from Danius Jenkins. Danius Jenkins isn't the sharpest shooter, but he can score from all across the board. So, and he can hit the three. So people need to respect his 3-pointer. That's great, but he can dribble it, pull up shot, drive it, and he's super quick. So I want them more to develop their ball handles, their basketball IQ, um, learn how to manipulate defenses. Because when Cade is being trapped and you swing the ball, you're playing 5-on-4 at that point. Like you're playing 4-on-3 because they're doubling Cade and sometimes throwing a third guy shading him on the wing. So imagine if they got three guys all focused on Cade. He swings the ball, and now you got Asar that can play make like Jalen Brown. I don't necessarily need him to be a sharpshooter like Max Strus, but give me a guy that can, you know, threaten defenses and say, if you're gonna double my guy, man, I'm gonna have a field day today. I'm gonna score 40. Ron Holland, same thing. Like that's what I can imagine from, and if they can develop that, which is a little more realistic in my mind, where I'll hit two or three threes if you leave me open, but I'm really just gonna bully you if you gotta double me too. That's what I think they need to develop. Because Cade's not lights out from three, but people still want to double him. It's not because of his fantastic 3-point percentage. It's actually because of how well he manipulates defenses. I think we need more guys like that, especially at secondaries. A CJ McCollum type, a Jalen Brown type, um, Jamal Murray type. Someone who even though I don't like Jamal Murray on our team specifically, but someone who, if the primary playmaker gets trapped or is able to attract a little more defense than they expected when they were drawn out to play, swing the ball. And then once you swing the ball, it just becomes a nice playground for everyone else. Man, getting into the X's and O's there, but a lot of good questions, Troy, man. Miss you up here, by the way. Um yeah, so all that said, I just want to get back to the agenda a little bit. I think it's going to be extremely hard for the Spurs to keep up with the Knicks at this moment, but I do expect them to put up a fight. And to be honest, I think the Spurs are a better team. So, um, but my heart says one thing and my brain says another because I just kind of know how the league works. And now they kind of made it very obvious. And if you look, like, let's go back to those matchups. Jalen Brunson is a cheat code. He's gonna score or get fouled. He's got good screeners. People who will, OG Ananobi will give you a screen. Cat who will flop on the screen and foul out your guy pretty quickly. Um, exactly, Troy. Knicks are the better actors. You're gonna see guys like Stephon Castle get very frustrated, similar to the OKC series. And I'm not saying Jalen Brunson is better than Shea, um, but Shea depends a lot on his mid range. Jalen Brunson is legitimately a good player, like elite, elite scorer. Then you go down the list, you got Mikal Bridges, very close to an elite scorer, and can play some lockdown defense. OG Ananobi is gonna give you that 3 and D elite 3 and D play. Cat, I cannot say anything good about Cat. I refuse to. But he'll like I said, he'll draw some fouls, he'll hit some threes. And honestly, when Cat is hitting threes, it's so hard to beat them. So hard. Because, like I said, he draws out defenses at a position due to 7 foot. It's similar to Wemby, in that sense. So can the Spurs, especially when Cornette is out there, keep up with the Knicks offense? I don't know. I really don't know. But the Spurs did learn a lot. Like I said, I think the storyline here is, can the Spurs and Wemby break the script? Similar to my '04 Pistons. They weren't supposed to win. I know that everyone knows they weren't supposed to win. I think they punished the Pistons for years and years just for doing that, just for winning. So um I'm cheering for the Spurs. Put your prediction in the chat, guys. Who do you think is going to win? I'd love to hear from you guys. Also, I do want you guys to know, Spurs fans that are coming in, Knicks fans, any other team. If you do have an opinion, you want to come up, I plan on bringing more people up here. Just people who are NBA fans, have opinions and want to say something, and maybe think I don't know what I'm talking about. Because that's kind of why I'm here, because I watch a lot of people and I'm like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I want to be able to speak. So, I made this channel and I want you guys to also come up here. Troy says Knicks in 6. Man, I hate that statement. I have PTSD from that statement. My prediction is honestly very similar, but I think it's going to be a 7-game series. I think they're going to draw it out, try to get as much money out of it as possible. It's going to be Knicks in 7. Um, but if you ask me what I want to see or what I think should happen, I think the Spurs should beat them in 5. I think the Spurs legitimately should beat them in 5. But I think it's going to be Knicks in 7. And you're going to see, like, the Spurs are going to dominate one game, and then you're going to see uh you know the referee take over a game, and then the Spurs are going to dominate another game, and then the referees are going to manipulate the game 2 straight games, and then you're going to see the Spurs tie it up, similar to the OKC series. Spurs fans, buckle your seatbelt. You remember, you're playing with house money. This is his first playoff run. Your young guys are young, man. They're young. You don't have to pay all of them yet. So, it's not a case of being sad. I know you might not like what you're hearing. Again, you can argue with me in the chat. Tell me why you think I'm wrong. If I'm a conspiracy theorist. Listen, bro, when Scott Foster and Tony Brothers are bigger names, household names, like my wife knows these names. My cousins are like, "Hey, man, what's this Tony Brothers guy?" Like when these guys are making names for themselves, there's something wrong with the sport, bro. There's something wrong with the sport. I don't know who these. Yeah, I should not know who these referees are. Ed Malloy. Like, why do I know these guys, bro? Why? It's just giving me shades of not. I think we got it wrong with Donaghy. I don't think it was an like one isolated event. I think there's a system to this. There's an agenda, and I mean the dude was making hand gestures, bro. Troy says, "How come we don't ever see them doing podcasts or interviews? We never hear from them. They not trying to leak any info or talk too much." I guess I mean that makes sense anyways. It makes sense anyways. Like imagine if I was gonna go and interview a referee and put them on the spot to answer a question that they shouldn't answer or they mess up and answer. They've got to be very trained. Like they got to be trained to speak to the media. But I think they should be held accountable. I think it's not enough. I don't think Adam Silver should come out and say the NBA officiating is great. What are you talking about? Like, I could put a poll. Listen, I could have 100 people on this podcast right now, and I could put up a poll, and I guarantee you, 99% of the people will say the NBA officiating is bad, and it could be Spurs fans, OKC fans, Pistons fans, Knicks fans, all across the board. It's not something you know you gotta have 2020 for. Like, it's obvious. We all see it. And if you're gonna lie to us and say the officiating is great, we need to worry about tanking. Man, let those teams tank, bro. I don't care. Like, really, it doesn't matter to me if they tank or not. It's a way to, fix it. Sure, go ahead, but don't try to distract me from the real problem. The real problem, there's two. One of them is that players have realized that when the fix is in, go and manipulate, go and flop. Go and do what you got to do. And number two is that it's very clear that the referees have not just one hand in the game, two hands and a whistle in the game. Like they got all of it. They control a lot of it. By the second half, like I said, before, they can make sure Asar has 3 or 4 fouls, and that changes the dynamic of the second half. And that's kind of how they do these things. So you'll see. Um, if they want the Spurs to lose, just watch. Wembenyama might be in foul trouble. Stephen Castle. They might make the bigs like have a hard time. Cornette get in foul trouble so that Wemby has to be out there for long extended periods. Like they do these weird things and it goes under the radar and they'll like it's weird because for example, nobody will remember the first 6 games of the Pistons and Cavs series. Everyone remembers that Kate sucked game 7. Everyone remembers that we blew it at home, but we all forget about all of the other games where there were clear referee problems. So they kind of like they know what they're doing. They curate it. Troy says the champion was decided before the season was even started. Yeah, man. I I don't know when they decided. I can't tell you exactly when. Um, I do know that Adam Silver's father is a Knicks fan. I know that he's getting a little older in age. I know that the Knicks have been um, very, very, very hungry for any type of success the past 50 years at the very least. Um, man, I'm a Lions fan, so I know how that feels. I'm almost like, bro, script it for us. Like, I don't even care at this point. I want to see some success. I want the city to feel something, to feel a heartbeat. But man, I know a lot of Knicks fans. They don't really care. They're the ones telling me magnets exists, magnets in the ball and the rims, and I'm like, y'all crazy. And the next year, you guys make the finals, and now don't tell me it's rigged because yes, okay, all right. At least I'm not telling you there's magnets in the ball. I'm telling you, Tony Brothers was paid to give you that call. Like that's what I'm saying. So um I just think it's horrible for basketball. It's horrible for little guru when I was little, thinking about being in the NBA, watching the games, man, crying after some of these games, bro. Like I was sad when the Pistons lost against the Spurs with Robert Ory hitting that corner three, and I was screaming at the screen telling She to get his butt in the corner. You know, when you start to like rig these games or at least manipulate them, it kills that. It's like, bro, it's just the call was made and or the call wasn't made or 10 calls were made, or why were these types of calls made but these weren't. Granted, man, they did exist. Like I remember Shaq was a cheat code, but it wasn't like this, bro. Like they're not slick with it. They're not. But yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to come up here, update everyone on that. A little update on some free agency, Troy. We were talking about Jalen Duren and Asar earlier. I think both get paid. I think both get paid. And I think both get paid for similar contracts. I think you pay both of them for 5 years around 170, and you call it a day. And I don't know what we do from there, but they become trade assets. I think you look at Duran and you really, really consider trading him for some pieces. I mean, man, if you can bring a Giannis in, um, does that help the team? I know some people are not really favorable. They don't favor Giannis. They think he's got effort issues. But I'm gonna call Miles Turner a liar. I don't like Pacers. He's always gonna be a Pacer in my mind. So I don't know. There's Giannis. You can go after another superstar like Jalen Brown. Be aggressive there. I heard he's a little disgruntled. Stephen A, do what you got to do. Make the chaos. Talk about bring the receipts out. How Jason Tatum doesn't like him. Um, I really like Anthony Simons. I just think that he's ultimately a really great six man. Like I think like on a championship team, like a dynasty, the dude is like a Lou Williams. He comes in, plays a lot of great offense, and then goes back on the bench. Or you put him, you surround him with some defense because he's not really that good defensively. Um, Sexton will be a good piece too, Troy. I'm looking at guys like that give me a little diversity too. I'm not fully against the Trey Murphy trade. Like I need Trey Murphy to be less expensive. That's it. I'm not against other pieces similar to that where they can give me defense. Honestly, defense first, but give me some quality offense. But it's Detroit. It's Detroit. I think we need our guys across the board. One of the things that Tobias kind of lacked, that Duncan kind of lacked, was not the effort to play defense, but the skill set. And I need long, rangy guys, long arms, quick on their feet, horizontally, lateral movement, can run up and down the court and not look like they're jogging like Jalen Duren or Tolu Smith. I need guys like that. I need more B-ball Pauls. I'm not saying that like I don't want to get the good talent, um, but the future of the league. We talked about the future of the league, and if it's offense, I think the future of the league is size and skill, but size. Like you can have a bunch of Donovan Mitchells and James Hardens, and and it won't work. It just won't work. You can even put Jared Allen and Evan Mobley down there to kind of counteract that the small size. It just won't work. I mean, we're doing good. We're doing good. We got Asar. We've got Cade. We've got, we brought up a guy like Duncan, who's, relatively big for his position. Um, I think we need size, but ultimately we need a Duncan that can play defense. We need a Tobias Harris, who is more consistent, but can also play lockdown defense and not throw his hip out. I know Donovan Mitchell definitely grabbed his leg, but you get what I'm saying. We need someone who's a little more quick laterally. Um, and if not, they got to be like insanely smart on defense. Like a Caruso who can also hit threes. Because bro, we got our guy. Like Cade is our guy. If you want to get a second guy, it's gonna be. I mean, man, what do you think about hoaxing Donovan Mitchell away from the Cavs? I don't like him, but I like the style because you're talking about Anthony Simons. Donovan Mitchell's a better Anthony Simons. So would you do that? Because I personally wouldn't. I want someone who more like a Jalen Brown. Because I don't want to sit there and be like, okay, Donovan Mitchell's gonna score the ball now, but we got to put defense around him. Like you were talking about the Spurs, bro. Well, who on the Spurs can't defend? So even though we're overloaded on defense, Stephon Castle is great. Dylan Harper is not a scrub on defense. Wemby is insanely gifted. And we can go to Keldon Johnson as their sixth man. Devin Vassell is really good. Really, really good. So again, I'm not saying that I'm only looking for defense, but what I am saying is I don't want to just isolate our focus on getting a scorer. I don't think it's that easy. I think I really, really envy the Spurs. Um, exactly. Troy, you said it. Two-way players. I envy the fact that they were able to get a second pick after getting the first pick. I mean, we had fifth picks in a row. One of them was Jaden Ivey. Like, I was so heartbroken. I would so rather have a Benedict Mathurin. Can we go get Benedict Mathurin from the Clippers? Maybe we go and get Benedict Mathurin as a part of a Kawhi Leonard trade and throw in Duran. And man, I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna do it. A lot of firsts. But like, if we are gonna sell and go all in, we need guys that are two-way players. Like, let's go get Benedict Mathurin and Kawhi from the Clippers. Kawhi's not gonna last very long, but then you get a young guy too. You know, those are the archetypes you put next to Cade. A Neesmith, from the Pacers. Can we go grab him? Um, those are the guys you're gonna need. Lou Dort, but younger version maybe. But can we get a Lou Dort? I mean, I don't know if we necessarily Rui Hashimura, Troy. I could see him. I don't know what position he plays. If he plays 3 or 4, I think he could play a little bit of either. But I don't know, man. The Lakers kind of like had no defense this year. I don't know if it was coaching, chemistry, what it was exactly, but I don't want to like Rui Hashimura was a good player on their team, but I didn't see any impact defensively from him. And they needed defense. Like the Lakers' weakness was defense. Our weakness, you are absolutely right, is offense. But dude, I wish we can get Dylan Harper or Cooper Flag. Abada, how do we do that, bro? How do we do that? Let's call up Trajan and let him know right now. Because if we can get Dylan Harper, Cade, Dylan Harper, like, bro, honestly, I might give up an SR for a Dylan Harper, like, and I don't even think they'll still do it. I don't think they would do it. So when we're talking about these guys, bro, like that's our competition in the future. So again, Troy says we talk about the games being rigged. The draft lottery is way rigged. Yeah. By the way, another update: the NBA did pass, I believe, the top 16 teams get to be in the lottery now. How do y'all feel about that? Abada, yeah. Nah. Hey man, I try, bro. I'll probably butcher another person's name, so I'll give myself points right there and credit. So thank you, man. Um, yeah, no, the I think what they're doing, even though I don't really care about taking that much, and I don't think it's the number one problem. I do believe that having less of a lottery is great, or even I guess more of a lottery. Anybody can win, but the fact that what you just said is it's still going to be rigged. So if they really want OKC to get a pick, they're going to get a pick. They want the Knicks to get a pick, they're going to get a pick. So the next LeBron comes around, Detroit, say goodbye to that. That's not going to happen. Troy says Mavs traded Luca with a promise of the number one pick. They had like a 1% chance to get it and won it. Yeah, right. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Um, but even with all the rigging, you can still get a good pick. Like no one thought Jokic was gonna be one of the best players in the NBA. So with all that said, yeah, you might miss out on a LeBron, you might miss out on a Cooper Flag, um, but you might hit on Jokic if you're good and a little bit lucky. Yeah, Troy says the whole point of the lottery is to stop tanking. Teams are tanking more now. By the way, I don't usually say this too often, but please, if you guys do like the show, subscribe. Um, I liked I again the show is mainly to give y'all voices. I know I talk a lot, but I really do want to bring y'all up here, and bring a lot of different opinions from across the league, fans from everywhere. We also talk about football, and occasionally baseball, hockey, but I'll be honest with you, basketball and football are the loves of my life. Don't tell my wife, but she knows too. But no, I, definitely subscribe. Thumbs up on the video and share it out. Tell your friends. This is where y'all want to be when you want to talk about sports, vent, hate watch. I know I'm gonna have some lives against the Knicks and Spurs, and I'm gonna be hating both of them. But I'm definitely rooting for the underdog. And in my opinion, believe it or not, because I know the script, I really want the Spurs to win. Yeah, we got Duran. Troy says we got Duran at 10, I think. I think he was 12. But Duran was also I did a lot of scouting that draft, bro. I did a lot of scouting that draft. And I wanted, honestly, I wanted Duran at 5. If we weren't gonna go with Benedict Mathurin, I wanted Duran at 5. And we went with Jaden Ivey. And I was like, okay, all right, we can make this work. And then I think he traded up with the New York Knicks to get Duran. And I was like, yes, I got what I wanted. That's great. Now Ivy is just a cherry on top. So it didn't work with Ivy. I really hope that guy, we do see a renaissance from him. But it was a wasted pick. Wasted pick. So it didn't even matter, bro. It didn't matter if we had the 5th pick, the 2nd pick, the 3rd pick, because sometimes you just get unlucky. Sometimes you make the wrong pick. So again, for me, the draft isn't, tanking in the draft is not the biggest problem. LeBron didn't win every year. So whoever got the first pick when LeBron came out didn't just hit the lottery. They won one championship after he left and came back. So I'm not the type that says fix tanking, fix flopping, fix the referee issue, fix the rigging, take Vegas out of the picture, bro. I'm gonna put up signs at every game I go to and say, stop, take Vegas out of the NBA. Obata says, would Knicks fans go more insane if they win or if they lose? That's a great poll. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I think they'll be violent no matter what. They'll probably trash their city. It's Knicks fans, bro. I don't know what to tell you about them. I don't get it. I love my team so much, but they're a different level. I think they hate their team and they love their team at the same time. Um, I always tell my folks, don't be Knicks fans. You know, it's funny. They love the Knicks right now. I guarantee if they go down 0-2, watch, watch. If they go down 0-1, 0-2 in this series, they're gonna start trashing Cat, start trashing Mikal Bridges. I mean, Mikal Bridges was a joke to them a couple, earlier in the season. They wanted Cat traded. You know, talks about how they needed to maybe no, Brunson is the only guy they'll never trade. They love that guy. He's awesome, but they are crazy. They're crazy. Um, Obada says, I've seen people say that if the Spurs win, they'll be hated just like OKC. Absolutely. I already hate the Spurs, but I hate the Knicks more. It's like the devil. It's the devil's playing the devil, bro. I don't know. I really don't know who to cheer for. But I will say, like, do I just don't want I don't want rigging to be the future of the NBA. I want someone to break the script. And I truly, truly, truly believe that um flopping is a tool. Abada says, but isn't it because of flopping? Flopping is a tool that they use, the players use to get to the line, to get the referee's whistle. But at the end of the day, we've seen Tony, brother. If you're a Pistons fan, you've seen that the Pistons aren't allowed to flop. They're just not allowed. But Jalen Brunson is allowed to flop. Um, OKC is allowed to flop. The entire team is allowed to flop. So Cade Cunningham, superstar, all NBA talent. He's not allowed to flop. He can't flop. Actually, he will get hurt if he tries to flop because someone will hurt him in the process or he'll hurt himself and there will be no call. And they'll just look at him and go, whatever, dude. I've seen this happen over and over again. So flopping is not how they rig games. Flopping makes the game ugly. Flopping makes the game annoying, irritating, and honestly unwatchable. But what it is how the refs decide to call the games. If the refs decide today Isaiah Stewart is going to be in foul trouble all the time, there goes our defensive presence down low. If they say Asar Thompson, if he even touches Evan Mobley, it's going to be a foul. Jalen Duren, we're never going to call a foul on the other team against Jalen Duren. We're just not going to call a foul. We're just going to take him out of the game. The other team can kill him. They could literally murder the guy. I'm not going to call a foul. If they do that, and they do that very often, people want to crap on Jalen Duren so bad, but go back and watch. Go back and watch those games. The guy was getting mauled down low, mauled, no fouls, and he was looking every single time like, what's gotta happen? Do I gotta get hit in the face? And I love what Wemby did against the Timberwolves. I don't condone violence, but dude, defend yourself. I was begging Duren. I was like, they're taking you out of the game anyways. Get a suspension, bro. Show them that if you don't call the calls, we're gonna fight. But I guess that's kind of where Detroit has to take it. Maybe next season. I know Duran was trying to get paid. So he was like avoiding fights all season, avoiding the controversy. Hey man, it came back to bite us in the playoffs because dude was getting no calls, no respect, nothing. I am a Detroit fan through and through. I watch every game. But I'll tell you the same thing happened to the Cavs against the Knicks. And I'm not a Cavs fan, bro. I'm not a Cavs fan either. I'm just trying to be fair. I'm trying to be unbiased, and I want everybody to unite against the NBA and make it very obvious. We need to let everyone know that this crap happens, bro. It happens. Um, Obata says, not gonna lie, today was the one day I respected Shea because he didn't flop that much. A little bit. And he had his best game, which is ironic. Um, Yeah, bro, Shea was hitting shots too. Like I was like, dang, bro. Like if you play like this, I, I, I remember why I was a fan of his for a second. Celtics for the win. Welcome to the channel. Hate the Celtics, but I love, us getting together and talking basketball. And so, welcome to the channel, bro. Extremely welcome. Um, what's Duran's contract going to be? Do you think? What would you pay him? This is the problem with Duran's contract. He's a restricted free agent. He's 22. He made All NBA third team. He was an All Star last year. Averaged 20 and 10, and then playoffs came, and the media crucified him. Literally crucified him. Made him the reason why everything is bad in Detroit. Um, I think it's a good thing for the Pistons that that happened. To be honest, not that we lost, but the fact that we were able to, we're going to be able to actually afford his contract. Hopefully, I think he's someone we retain, but his ceiling is limited. Just telling you there that he's not gonna be a Shaq. He has to be a Shaq for us to pay him super max money like that. He's gotta be an Embiid. He's gotta be a we're not gonna pay him that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try to pay him under or maybe right at the restricted money line, right? I saw some figures going out there about offering him a 5 year for 180. It's a little more than the 4 year for 177 that the max that other teams can offer him. And so if the other teams offer him that much, we can match. We have the right to match that. That figure over 4 years, I believe, is over 40 mil a year. Yeah, it's like 40 something. That's a lot of money. But now extended over for 5 years, now it's becoming more like 36 mil. A little more affordable and around Hartenstein's pay. I look at it like, who are you comparing this guy to? And if you're gonna pay him the same as like a center like Hartenstein, I'm cool with that. I would give him the 5 year for 180. I'm not matching the 177. I'm trying to jump it. I'm trying to jump that. And I think some teams might offer him that, like Brooklyn, Chicago, teams that might be able to have that cap space, need a big, want to jump out of that 20 win range to the 30, 40 range, maybe make the playoffs or the play in. So we're going to have to try to match it if we don't offer him something a little more enticing, if that makes sense. Um, by the way, welcome everyone again. Subscribe if you like the show, and add your takes, add your questions. I'm a Detroit fan. Just some context about me. Um, I started really. I was watching basketball back when Grant Hill was a Piston, but it used to be like I'm from Detroit. I like the Detroit Pistons. Grant Hill's great, but we weren't a good team. I really became a fan. Once Stackhouse got traded, Ben Wallace came to the team, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey, and then once we got Sheed, I got to experience something, man. I hope every basketball fan gets to see, and that's perfect basketball. It's the right way to play. It's where everybody is in tune with everyone. You have a point guard who knows where to get the ball, when to get it. They play they played amazing defense. Um and they were nobody wanted to see them win, but they won anyways. And so that's what I'm all about. I'm all about good basketball. Um and my partner, main event, he isn't with he's not on the show tonight. Maybe we'll be hopping on tomorrow. It's a little bit late tonight where I'm at. But man, like I said, I had to jump on after watching this the Spurs win because I predicted this, man. I predicted this to a T. The red carpet is rolled out for y'all Knicks fans, and the Spurs are gonna get their heart broken. Cat's out of the bag. Spurs are gonna get their heart broken. My main event, just so y'all know, is the swag fan of the year at LCA this year. Uh, he's the guy. If you ever go to a Pistons game, the guy with the belt, roaring it up with Hooper, our mascot. So we love basketball. It's all we talk about. We decided to make this podcast for y'all. So if y'all want to come on, vent, talk about your team, see what a Pistons fan thinks. I don't know. I don't know if y'all care. If you guys think we're dumb, again, we bring people on. We will literally bring you on the show. I'll drop a link, bring you on the show, and you guys can say your piece. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I can expect matchup wise with the Spurs and the Knicks a little. What do you guys think is gonna happen? Um, in the games, game one, game two, game three, game four. Because the way I see it, um, the Spurs are just a bad. They don't match up well against the Knicks. There's too much speed from the guards. McBride is like low key a great bench piece. Um, Great shooter. Jalen Brunson is maybe top five player in the league. I'm gonna give you that take right there. Top five player in the league. Um, Cat is a big that can shoot the lights out. Won a 3-point contest before. I don't think Wemby has guarded players like that, and when he has, I mean, we can look at kind of what the series looked like. I think they played three times this last year. One of them was actually the cup, the midseason cup, and I think it was called the Emirates Cup, if I'm not mistaken. And the Knicks beat them, and then they played again, and the Knicks lost by two. And Champagny had just a game. He had a game that game. I think he scored like 30 points. And then yeah, the Knicks blew out the Spurs the game after that. And I remember the Spurs were like on a run. I think they were like a 10 games in a row or something like that. And the Knicks just blew them out the water. So when I look at their matchup this season, I don't actually, I kind of said it in my head. I'm like, I don't think if the league wants the Knicks to win, they don't want them to play OKC because I think OKC matches up really well with the Knicks. And the Knicks struggle against OKC oftentimes. They want to match them up against the Spurs that'll look more natural when they defeat them. Troy says Brunson will have to shoot more middies and threes with less floaters and drives. Think he does well shooting. Brunson is going to take over. I'm 100% with you. But why do you think that he will have to take less floaters and drives? I mean, I can understand why, but they do have Cat. And so if Brunson maybe in the beginning will have to, exercise his shot just to kind of, have Wemby not roam the paint. But Cat is his issue is that he actually doesn't live in the paint. Cat pulls people out of the paint. So then how are the Knicks matching up? Who are they putting on? I mean, how did the Spurs match up? Who are they putting on Cat after all that? Hey, he's Dominican, bro. He's Dominican. So that's why it's a bad matchup. Cat destroys the Wemby defense. Because if you notice, the Spurs play a zone. As crazy as that seems, they play a zone and they switch on the perimeter. It's almost like it's a special defense that Wemby plays, but it's a zone in essence, right? Wemby doesn't really step out of the box. And he roams and he plays really good backside if he does have to run out to the three and switch. Doesn't do that often because it just defeats anyone who's ever beaten the Spurs has found a way to make Wemby leave the paint. The Knicks, there's no way Wemby is everybody can shoot. Everybody on the Knicks can shoot. So the Spurs' weakness is the Knicks. Believe it or not. Um, but again, they can also play 2-way. So the way the Spurs win, Stephon Castle has to shoot well. Dylan Harper has to shoot well. Um, Devin Vassell, bro, that guy. You know what, bro? We need Devin Vassell. The Pistons need to call the Spurs and let them know. Listen, you can't pay everybody. Give us Devin Vassell. What do you want? And he's a great 3 and D guy. Pushes the tempo, super like experienced. He's just reliable. The Spurs have to play that kind of way. They have to be reliable on offense to really beat the Knicks because the Knicks, I hate to say it, um, their offense is is top tier, and their defense is up there as well. They're a really good, well-rounded team. So, and sometimes I almost feel like when Mitchell's not playing, it may be better for them. But in the case with the Spurs, they need Mitchell. They need Mitchell Robinson. Because down in the paint, Wemby needs to know he can't just do whatever he wants down low. And we seen, man, against the Pistons, can't even guard Tobias. So they're gonna need some big man help down low, and that's how the Spurs win, in my opinion. Celtics for the win says the Mitchell Robinson minutes should be interesting. Yeah, I mean he said he broke his pinky. I mean, people want to make fun of Cat. If Mitchell doesn't play, I mean, you broke your pinky, bro. Like you're gonna have to go and work around that. They need you. You're a big presence. Your feet still work. Go put your hand up, bro. Go put your hand up. I would even say I was joking with a friend that said like I would cut my pinky off and just play, But nah, they need Mitchell Robinson. They absolutely need the guy. And that brings me to a good segue into what the modern NBA team kind of needs to face teams like the Knicks and the Spurs. And it's getting to the point where, this is why the Cavs went out and got Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley and put them on the same team. You kind of need two bigs, one who can shoot and one who, roams the paint and plays extraordinary defense. And it really helps when a man, Troy, bro, if we could get Evan Mobley, that just cures everything. That's our sheet. I would resign everybody and then just bring Evan Mobley back. That's dude, Evan Mobley would be the best piece on the Pistons right now. He's such a good modern four. Can even play stretch five if he wants to. That's the kind of guys you need. If Mitchell Robinson can shoot, the Knicks would be unstoppable. I'm glad he can. If he can shoot free throws, I I think they would be even better. Um, and that might be something that you see if they do put Mitchell Robinson in. Are we hacking Robinson? Is that what we're doing? A hack a shack? Because you kind of want coach to get forced to take him off the court. And then again, I don't have a lot of trust in Mike Brown, to be honest with you. Hack a Mitch, is that what they call it? So you kind of want. I don't have. Like I said, I don't have a lot of hope in like Mike Brown to like be creative. I mean, I only know him as a coach that like coached LeBron, and when you coach LeBron, you don't need to coach much. Um, so maybe he's kind of giving Brunson that same sort of treatment. Go do what you got to do. And so Brunson taking over, scoring 40 a game. I could see it's the finals. They're rested. If they have the whistle, man, man, oh man, I'm gonna put up a poll right now, and I want you guys to answer this. Please add your questions, guys. I'm just putting this poll, and I'd love to answer more of your questions. only four options, but I'd like to see if you had these four options. What do you think? All right, all right. I see some of these coming in. So the question is, what's your prediction? Spurs in seven, Spurs in six, Knicks in six, or Knicks in seven? And if you don't see the option here, please, add it to the chat. Celtics for the win says if Wemby wins the Finals MVP this year, does it make him the best 22-year-old of all time? I'd have to dig back in history to kind of see what other 22-year-olds were doing. But man, like in my recent history, like yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, taking your team again. I don't want to downplay what the Spurs are doing because it's not just Wemby. I think that's the storyline. It's the headline. Great player, great person, by the way. Wemby reminds me a lot of Cade, and I'm always gonna compare people back to our Pistons guys. Just get used to it. But it reminds me a lot of Cade because he really is very well spoken, articulate, thinks before he speaks. Um, I could tell he loves the game of basketball. He made a choice when he said he was going to become an NBA player, and his choice was to be the best. Um, and you can just see it in his eyes, the fire, even the effort he puts into every single play, the passion that he has. So I would say yes, man. I would say absolutely. I think winning the finals at 22. I mean, who does that? But he's not the only one on his team winning the finals at 22. What if let me put it this way, what if Dylan Harper wins the finals MVP? What if Wemby is getting all this defensive attention and Dylan Harper goes off or Stephon Castle? Are they the best 22-year-olds to ever do it? Um Wemby has different statistics, right? Like he's had 40 20 games, but I'll argue and say it would be more impressive if one of his teammates did. So then the argument becomes, is just winning the Finals MVP mean you're the best 22-year-old to ever do it? I don't know. I don't know, especially if you have a team stacked with a bunch of great 22-year-olds, right? So I think this team is something we've never seen before, and I hate to glaze them so much because I am not a Spurs fan. I'll say that very confident. I am not a Spurs fan. All right, all right, all right. Looking at the votes. Only got four in. If you guys see the poll, please answer it. What's your prediction? Knicks in six, Spurs in six, Spurs in seven, or Knicks in seven? My prediction is Knicks in seven. I think it's written in the stars, written in some NBA script somewhere on Adam Silver's desk. He wrote it, sent it to his dad, and said, "Merry Christmas. This is for you, Dad." And Dad said, "Wow, what a great son." And that's my story. I really believe it. Um, you get some perks being NBA commissioner. You get to kind of you get to talk about how great the refs are. And while we're at this, while I'm asking y'all some questions, I'm actually gonna end this poll right now. I'll give you guys 5 minutes. I got another poll to put up here. I've asked this before, but I'm gonna ask this every single time. All right. Now, please answer this one honestly. I don't care what kind of fan you are. I would really like to know what the people think about the referees. Your team could be in the finals right now. Your team can be in Cancun. Um, but I just want to know what do you think about the referees? Do you think they're great? Adam Silver made a statement, came out and said the officiating is outstanding. The NBA has the best referees, and then went on to contradict himself and said, "I'm gonna take away some of their job and give it to AI." Um, so what do you guys think? And as they're coming in, I see, you know, 67% say no. One says yes. Interesting. If you do say yes, please, can you comment, in the comments, yes, and who's your favorite team? I'm just interested. Nice experiment. You don't have to, but it would be really, really interesting to see which fans believe the referees are doing well and which ones aren't. Celtics for the win says, I don't think it's outstanding, but it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. That's an interesting take. Yeah, man. Some games I'm like, yeah, it was good, and then some games I'm like, clearly there was something going on there. Do you guys believe that referees can make things personal, have biases? I mean, I think that all plays into it. I think being on camera gets into people's heads sometimes. It could be that too. But you're right. I mean, we make a big deal about it, and sometimes it's not as big a deal as we say it is. But I'm still standing by the fact that there is a script, and the NBA got caught. I caught them. I've been predicting every game. I I could have put money. I don't bet, guys. I don't bet at all. I think no judgment to anyone that does, but for me personally, I will never get into that sort of habit. I like my money too much. But I will say I would have made a lot of money. I would have made a lot of money if I did, because I predicted these games the past the past playoffs. Really, um, I was hopeful, knowing my team was in the playoffs, that they would beat the script. But I kind of had a feeling. I kind of had a feeling. All right, going back to the poll. Not too many of y'all voting, but 75% say no, 25% say yes. Out of four. All right, not too bad. Y'all, I'm going to call it a night soon. Please flood me with your last second questions. I would love to get them answered. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel. Um, I also do like to bring people up. So if you are interested, make sure you subscribe, press on the bell icon, try to catch it early in the show. I'll send the link out. We'll get you on, talk about your team. I would love to. I do plan on having some like live Spurs Knicks games where we're watching the game. I call it hate watching, but I'd love to bring a Spurs fan, a Knicks fan, watch it together, talk about it, get y'all reactions out here to the people too, because I think that's what sports is all about. Is for the people, for us, and yeah, man, I would love to hear it. Love to hear it. And I know a lot of others would love that sort of environment where we all get together, um, and talk some, talk some, talk some smack here and there. Where would you rank Paul Pierce in today's NBA? So just so you know, Paul Pierce was one of my most disliked players of all time, just because the way he played was so. How can I say? But even while I'm saying this, by the way, I think he's an amazing player. Was an amazing player, but he just rubbed me off so hard, so bad. And I didn't really like the Celtics growing up either. But I would rank him. I think he would definitely be top 15 for sure. Top 15 for sure. And I don't know how old you are. I don't know like how much basketball you've seen or how much you know about the Celtics, but the Celtics were really bad with Paul Pierce until he got KG and Ray Allen. So they weren't a good team at all. He was really good, but they just weren't a good team. They had a couple good years too with Antoine Walker and some other guys, but he it wasn't it, what they weren't doing nothing really. So I'm not gonna say he can carry a team to like by himself or even he needs help. He needs help. So I'm gonna say top 15. What do you think? I would almost put him in the same category. I would put like Donovan Mitchell in. Great player, can drop 40 on you, can take over some games. Yeah, but I don't think he's top 5 for sure, and I don't think he touches top 10. All right, y'all. With that said, I'm gonna call it a night. Look out for a show tomorrow. Um, I'm gonna go more in depth. Spurs Knicks. Try to get some of y'all on. I'll have my boy with me, main event, and hopefully, and we'll chop it up some more. But please don't go off just yet. I do want y'all to hear my song that I made, "But Don't Lie." Um, please check it out. Like it if like the video if you like it, and please subscribe. Again, we're trying to create a community of y'all here so that this show could be for all of us. But remember, ball don't lie. The truth always outlasts the lies, you know, and that's what I want for the NBA, guys. This is why I bring up the whole rig thing. It's not because I'm some conspiracy theorist, but because I love basketball. I love the integrity. I love the realness of it, the struggle to get to the finals. I know all of you guys do too. But I am tuning out. It's 313 Sports Guru. Catch y'all tomorrow and peace out.
Turn me up. Detroit already know what time it is. No soft tape. Yes. Turn me up. Detroit already know what time it is. No soft tape. No fake love. Run the tape. Ball don't lie. Smooth operator. when he shift that angle. One wrong step, now the defense is shambles. Stop sign, unsaw, red light on wings. Clamps too tight, he control everything. Number 9 lurking, no room for the swing. You thought you had space, now you stuck in the ring. Beef stew in the mud, bringing heat to the glass. Talk too light, better move with some class. Jalen Duran at the rim, got the paint on tax. Come down that lane, better know where you at. Ryan Harlan hungry, young wolf with bite. Detroit don't race off, we race fight. Bad whistle blow, still standing upright. LCI shake when the boys get right. From the Coney to the group chat, everybody got a tag. From the cheap seats to the live stream, everybody wide awake. Ball don't lie, tape don't lie. Scoreboard cold and the streets gon' ride. Real fans talk, fake fans hide. 3-1-3, better pick your side. No soft takes, no fake pride. Detroit sports, look alive. Ball don't lie, truth gon' show. Run that back, let the whole world know. When it's chaos, I'm on raw routes, first downs pay off. John me again, Sonic gone when he take off. Blink one time, now the whole roof came off. Hunch off the edge, that pocket get haunted. Quarterback nervous, now the drive getting stalled up. Party stayed well, Stonewall, nobody falling. Jama over top, hit a whole crowd calling. Curry in the back, bad throws get taken. Fourth field loud, whole city starts shaking. Fourth quarter pressure, everybody awakened. Detroit been patient, now the league gotta face it. We sat through the jokes, we sat through the pain. Still watercolor, still screamed in the rain. Now they wanna talk like they knew the name, but we was in the mud when they laughed at the game. Woodward lights, 94 traffic, still tuned in, still talking magic. Win or lose, we don't disappear. Detroit sports, we bleed in here. Ball don't lie, tape don't lie. Scoreboard cold and the streets gon' ride. Real fans talk, fake fans hide. 3-1-3, better pick your side. No soft takes, no fake pride. Detroit sports, look alive. Ball don't lie, truth gon' show. Run that back, let the whole world know. Don't bring lazy takes in here. Don't bring fake debates in here. If you ain't what, don't speak in here. Detroit sports, we bleed in here. Smooth operator with the clock on ice. Stop sign waiting, better think twice. Beef stew banging that glass, got price. Sonic hit the crease, going out of sight. Run the tape, say the name, Roll the scout, foul, check the game, If they cook, we gon' say it. If they sold, we gon' play it. If they fought it, we gon' weigh it. Ball don't lie, we don't fake it. Detroit, basketball, Detroit. Ball don't lie, tape don't lie. Scoreboard cold and the streets gon' ride. Real fans talk, fake fans hide. D13, better pick your side. No soft takes, no petty pride. Detroit sports, look alive. Ball don't lie, truth gon' show.